I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Give Us the Rope for the big homie.
This is for River.
River, and it's his birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. River. Shout out to the big homie River. He's the one that got us on to the band, the Protomen is the name of the band. Mm-hmm. This is Act 2, Father of Death, and we've been going through it. So basically, it's this alternate universe where, like the guy created AI, and then there's a doctor named Dr. Light, and then there was another doctor who was jealous of him, and there was this girl, and so the jealous doctor...
Was the girl's name Emily?
I think so. So the jealous doctor goes to Emily, hey, let's go out together, and she's like, you're nothing compared to Mr. Light. So then the jealous doctor takes the android and kills her, and then Light shows up in this Shakespearean moment, oh, my girl, and then he hears a cop, so he jumps out the window.
He was put on trial. Yeah,
he went to her funeral, got himself locked up, and he basically got himself locked up on purpose because he didn't want to live without her. Mm-hmm. But then in the trial, he got off, and then the bad doctor had basically predicted that he would get off. Of course, he knew he'd get off because there was no evidence. And so now it's in the next movement of the play, which is basically Give Us a Rope, which I'm assuming is that people are going to be clamoring for vigilante justice. So, having said that, let's jump right into it. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori. All right, let's go.
Okay, so
this looks like it's a transitional type of thing.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a crazy thing, human nature. and how people can be like, because I think he was basically like a hero type figure at the beginning of this whole thing.
Because he had created that thing.
Yeah, so Thomas Slight is the good guy and Albert Wiley is the bad guy. And so, you know, in the beginning of the first song, they waited so long for this day, someone to take death away. No son would ever have to say my father worked into his grave. Like, when he's saying they, it's like the people. See what I'm saying? Like, so it's one of those things where like this dude was basically like a hero, and then this thing happens, and then like, the whole people now they're calling for his blood, and you know, and when you think about like Jesus, like on the one hand he's like 1 week they're telling him, yay, you're the guy, yeah, and he's the king of Israel, blah blah blah, he's gonna save us. And then a week later, the same group of people saying crucify him and mocking him, spitting him, throwing rocks at him, and like how people are so quick to, and that's one of the reasons why like I'm not a fan of the death penalty, because we are so easily manipulated by people. Like when the media and the government decide that somebody is bad, people just go along with it, and there's so much we don't know, but so much we take at face value. This is going to be controversial, but you know, this is probably a very extreme example, but a guy like Epstein, for example, like, what do we really know about him and what he's actually done? All we have are pictures and accusations. That's all we have. We don't have any physical proof of anything. All we have is what the media says about him and what the Netflix
How can that
special
be?
says
He
about
had
him.
an entire island.
Every rich person has an island. But what actual physical evidence do we have that validates that what they were saying was true?
Like you and me?
Yeah.
Or, oh, well, I don't have any.
We don't have anything.
Yeah.
But they went in there and killed him, and everybody's like, like, he should have his day in court. There's a reason that you're innocent until proven guilty. And do I believe he's guilty? Sure. But when I look at something like this, I'm like, we would have believed that this dude was guilty. And no, you don't think so?
He was in love with the girl. You would have thought he killed her?
Yeah, that's his personal life. What I'm saying is, the media is not showing that. Because remember they talked about the big TV screen? They're not showing any of that. All they're showing is that he killed this girl, and everybody's now clamoring for the guy's blood.
Yeah.
Because that's what Wiley and the media wanted people to see.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, how do we know any of these people are that way? You see what I'm saying? Like we don't know anything.
I hate it when you say stuff like that. I don't want to live in that kind of a world. I want it to be black and white. Kill Epstein. Let the rest of, you know what I mean? Like I want clarity, and I want the bad guy punished.
What are the chances that he really was a good guy caught up? I think the chances are very low, because the crimes that he was accused of are so heinous that you figure he'd shoot a press conference and say, hey, I didn't do any of the stuff that these people are saying. But what I'm saying is, we are casting all this judgment on so many people just on the word of what the media says they are. But at the same time, all of us knows that the media has lied to us trillions of times, and yet there's no like skepticism.
Yeah.
And so it's like there are very bad actors who understand that people are impressionable, and they're able to sway the emotions and the heart. Like the biggest one for me really wasn't Epstein, but it was 9/11. Right, where we had a very disproportionate response to 3,000 people being killed. I would say that killing over like 1.5 million people, which is a very, very low estimate in the last 20 years, and using the 3,000 dead at 9/11 to justify that is completely disproportionate.
Well, yeah.
But at the time, you know, it was like, nobody put it together like, okay, there's just one guy with 19, 20 people supposedly that did this thing. Why are we going after an entire country? Why are we mobilizing the military for an entire country of people? And now we're going into Iraq. By the time we went to Iraq, people were starting to go, wait a second. You know, but by that time it was too loud, the drums of war. So it's one of those things where it's like the media was able to successfully manipulate us to go into Afghanistan. They were able to pass the Patriot Act. They're able to do so many things because we're at such a heightened state of emotion.
Oh yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And then it was like, if you question it, then all of a sudden you were not patriotic, you didn't love the country. So like even you, like when I question, well, wait a second about this Epstein person, I haven't seen any evidence. People, you're looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? He's horrible, he's terrible, of course, kill him. And that's why, like, you know, I generally don't...
Yeah, but that's because I've heard the same thing said about other things, like, you know, when... You know, George Floyd, but not George Floyd, but like other black people when they've been killed, people say, well, I haven't seen any evidence, so we're gonna have to wait. You know what I mean? Like, so those kind of phrases make me feel pumped up.
Well, no, they don't say I haven't seen any evidence. They say let's wait till the court, because the TV, they're seeing these people killed on TV. Mm-hmm. So what they're saying is, well, let's wait till let's let the justice system play out, and then we'll see what happens. If I saw a video of Epstein doing something crazy, I wouldn't question it. Do I believe...
You could question that too, because remember we saw that thing where they made that guy's face look just like Tom Cruise?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, when you have closed circuit TV and things of that nature, that would be one thing. And yeah, I think in 10 to 15 years, that's something we're going to have to worry about. What I'm saying is, if I wanted to go after the killer of Philando Castile or whatever, I've got him on video shooting those people, and he never denied it. Mm-hmm. Whereas what I'm saying about Epstein is, he never had his day in court. We had one narrative about him.
Yeah. And
we have no physical evidence. We have nothing. But our entire country has basically passed judgment on this dude. And then he gets killed. And all of us know, not only that he didn't kill himself, but we also know it was very powerful people. And most of us believe, 90% of us believe, it was elements of our own government or former elements of our government that did it. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is, why are people okay with that? Like, that's something I've been saying, like, since the beginning of this thing. Like, I don't feel sorry for him, and that makes me a hypocrite because I don't really know. Maybe he is a victim. I mean, worse things have happened in this country, believe me. So, that's all I'm saying is, like, when I see this, like, give us the rope and all this, and the whole concept of vigilante justice, I'm like,
Yeah.
It makes me very, like, uneasy at this point, because I'm like, we think we know things, and the media has got us in this emotional sort of, you know, state of hysteria with Epstein and the pedophilia stuff that's been coming out in the last couple of weeks, that, you know, it doesn't matter if he's guilty or not at this point. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I think is dangerous. Like, it doesn't matter even at this point whether the man is legitimately guilty or innocent, because our society has cast judgment on him. He's been killed, and because he was accused of such a heinous crime, nobody cares that the government went in and killed this guy to protect themselves, supposedly. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Remember we did that that reaction to that woman that she was a serial killer, and they ended up killing, you know, putting her on death row. And then once you heard the extra details of the story, you're like, okay, this wasn't right.
Right.
What was done to her.
Right.
And then she finally retaliated against that. So, what was her name?
It was they made the movie Monster about her. But again, I still think that's different because she wasn't denying that she killed those people. You know, her defense was basically that she was a traumatized woman, and one of them was self-defense, but yada, yada, yada. But she never denied that she killed those people. What I'm saying is, if Epstein was to be able to stand trial and then give an act of denial and say, I did not do this, according to the Constitution, like, he should be innocent until proven guilty. That's the standard.
Yeah.
But it's clear that you can convict somebody in a court of public opinion, and that'll be it. And that's the thing that I'm like, yo, that's extremely dangerous. That type of power and that type of a society that allows that to happen. And it's how many people have you actually heard saying, we need an investigation about who legitimately killed this dude? None of us believes that he was that he killed himself. None of us believes that. Mm-hmm. But how many people, but the reason you can't do that is because he's been accused of the worst crime possible in the mindset of American people for now, which is, you know, doing something horrible sexually to a child. You know, you can chop a kid up into little pieces in America, but God forbid, you know what I mean? So like, so for now anyway, it's still wrong to do that to a kid in this country. I mean, I don't know how many years we have left of that, but everybody's like completely fine with it, and nobody's saying, wait a second, we need a detail. Nobody's demanding, nobody of any influence is demanding an investigation as to who the killer of this guy is. It's just on to the next one. And then people are now joking about Ghislaine and saying, I doubt very highly she's going to make it to the trial. Well, that's a problem. Because what is it that these people are trying to tell us? Like, what were they trying to say? And what would happen if you know, I don't know, something crazy happened and you were, you know, taken to the third heaven or whatever, and God says, let me show you what actually happened. And it had nothing to do, that he didn't do anything, that maybe he was exposing them or whatever. Like, we don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much stuff we don't know that we assume we know because we had it from the media. But at the same time, all of us are the same people that says that the media lies to us all day. Okay, well... So now you got this group of people saying, give us the rope, give us a doctor, yada 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 yada. When he's really the victim, and they're all whipped up into this flurry of, you know, almost, you know, orgiastic sort of like, yeah, let's go and kill him and all that, and it's just crazy to me. And obviously, as a Christian, that happened to the best person on the planet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like an innocent person, and he had a crowd of people who were absolutely sure that he was worthy of death. You would figure that Christians would be like, well, wait a second. Like, if the entire country, like, what else has a country been unified on? What other bad guy has the country been unified on? We can't even get everybody to say that Hitler was a bad guy universally. But all of a sudden with this dude now, all of us know that he's a bad guy. Nobody thinks that that's weird? That's strange to me, bro. That's very, very weird to me.
I hear what you're saying.
It's weird.
I just don't like thinking about that.
Look, do I believe that it is most likely that he did, if he did 14% of what they accused him of, he's a scumbag dude. You do it to one girl, you're done, in my mind. By the way, child or adult, it's worse if you do it to a child, but it's still freaking horrible if you're an adult.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you do it to one person, so do I think the likelihood is that he legitimately did it? Sure, but at the same time, what is the likelihood that our media is lying to us about him? It's very, very high. I don't think anybody would deny that. I don't think anybody would say, yeah, the media's been lying to us for decades, but with the Epstein thing, they're telling the absolute truth. We can trust them. I don't think anybody would really say that if we pinned them down and said, hey, what do you believe about this? I think everybody would be like, yeah, I probably have a point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is it's very, very, we're in a, you know, a lot of these folks are like reading conspiracy theories into the mask thing. And they're like, oh, they're prepping us, or they're testing to see how compliant we'll be. I think the Epstein case is a lot more, if you want to talk about like feeling out the soil to see how compliant people are. I think that one, because it was so blatant. It was so blatantly obvious that he did not kill himself. And if you want to talk about a secret cabal of 1%ers who are controlling the country, who are testing us for compliance and things like that, that is way more telling to me than the mask thing. It's not even close.
Yeah, I felt like it was obvious that people wouldn't really care.
Well, again,
I'm not surprised at all.
Well, again, they set it up a certain way that they had this narrative about the man, and so now they can do that to anybody. They can put.
Well, I mean, that's how the Christians got killed under Nero. He said that they started a fire.
He blamed them for the fire.
And so then when he went crazy on them, like an insane emperor, people didn't react, you know? So as long as you can convince the masses that someone is really terrible, then yeah, you're right. And that's what happened with 9/11.
Yeah, but Americans are supposed to be like, whoa.
Did you say we're supposed to be?
Yeah, we're supposed to be. You're supposed to have the innocent until proven guilty thing and yada yada yada. And nobody's sitting and thinking.
No, that's only for white Americans.
Well, Epstein was a white American.
Yes,
he was a rich white American male. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're looking at this as a compliancy test, if that can happen to a straight, rich white American male, it can happen to anybody. If they could G a dude like that, then it can happen to anybody. And nobody's like thinking of the ramifications of this. Like, you don't think that? Let me say this without saying anything. All of the bad guys in American history. Everybody that you've been told was a bad person. Do you believe that 100% of them are as bad as the media and the history books and the people in power would want us to believe? I can tell you for a fact, they're not. I don't know anything about Epstein, but I can tell you for a fact, there's a lot of things where people are like, holy shit. So, I'll leave it at that. So anyway, it's a when I heard the intro, it's funny you brought up Nero, I felt like I was like in some Roman amphitheater, you know, Colosseum, and people were like, yeah, you know, because the bloodlust that is, it's a very, very interesting feeling listening to that. So what, you look like you're tweaking, what's wrong?
I am, I'm frustrated. I don't like it when you say stuff like that makes me, like, I want to hate Epstein.
I mean, you can hate him. I'm not saying this because I feel bad for Epstein. I'm saying this because I'm like...
And I don't want any doubt in my head. I think that he did, but then you're right. Well, all of my evidence is coming off what I've heard from the media. And I don't believe that you can trust the media. I barely think that you can trust anybody.
What stories have right-wing media and left-wing media been completely univocal on? They have a different interpretation on everything. I know. But this one, right across the board, everybody's saying the same thing. Okay. All right.
No, that's weird.
Okay. The last time I saw that was in Trump's State of the Union address when he was talking about Venezuela and the CIA-backed coup, and they had the guy, that the CIA was backing to overthrow the current democratically elected government, and he stood up and Pelosi immediately. And I was like, in that moment, you can watch it on the fireside, I was like, this is a one time when both of them are completely good with each other. The left and the right, they're both, yay! And it's like, this is a coup. Like, this is literally our government trying to overthrow another government who happens to have some pretty amazing oil deposits. So it just, anytime I see both parties unquestioningly believe something, I'm like, eh. Because, I mean, think about it. We got life and death stuff like coronavirus. Like, you could literally die, and there is a difference of opinion on it. Based on what station you're on. And you're going to hear stories based on, you know what I mean? So I'm like, anytime I see both groups unquestionably holding to a certain narrative, I'm like, I don't know. What do you give the song?
I don't know. This is really hard to rate because...
Yeah, it's a transitional song.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I mean, it obviously sparks something in my mind, but it's like a transitional song, so I'm going to count it as the intro to number 7, How the World Fell Under Darkness.
Okay.
So then we'll give another one on the next video, which is coming up very shortly.
Yes, keep your eyes open.
To be continued. I think this one's 11, so the next one will be out at 3. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Every couple of hours, another one will be out.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. See you soon.